Hey there Cosmic Warriors, and welcome back to another video. Okay, so in today's video we are going to be taking a look at the glow, applause and aliveness of those of you who have Sun located within the 6th house within your natal birth chart, but also for those of you who have the sign of Leo ruling the 6th house within your natal birth chart as well. However, before we do get started, make sure that you give this video a like if you like it today. Also make sure to subscribe if you have not already, and to click that little bell icon in order to keep yourself updated with further content from myself. And one more quick thing to mention: if you would like to know more information all about your Sun sign, your Sun house, along with your Leo house and your 5th house within your birth chart, then I have created a Leo season/archetype ebook. So what I am going to do is I'm going to provide a link to that ebook in the description box below so that you can pick up your copy today if you would like. Okay, so with all of those introductions out of the way, Sun in the 6th house and Leo ruling the 6th house individuals, let's do this. Okay, so if you have Sun in the 6th house or the sign of Leo ruling the 6th house within your birth chart, then what this suggests is that you're most likely someone who thrives on a routine or a schedule that works best for you personally. Now, the type of routine that you have may depend upon the sign that the Sun is in, along with aspects being made to the Sun, but there seems to be an emphasis here on how you approach the day-to-day. So for example, maybe you're someone who enjoys running your daily errands, or maybe you gladly set your alarm clock each morning for the same time. Perhaps there are certain daily rituals that you like to perform because that way you feel more like yourself, or quite possibly it's your working life that helps you feel confident as you feel good about yourself. Which, following on from this point, it's you who expresses your ego and your identity through what you work as, or through the type of work that you perform, along with the daily routines that I just mentioned. And the same could also be said about your ability to accomplish your tasks and duties. So that job that you do, it must resonate with who you are and what you're about. It must be something that keeps you energized and enthusiastic. Something that fulfills you and has you feeling like you've got a purpose. Or that work that you perform, it's something that should signify how much time and effort that you put in. To you, it should really represent your ability to complete the task at hand and to do it excellently so. Or those routines that you create, maybe you enjoy it whenever you get to tick each task off your list, or maybe you like helping others who may struggle with their day-to-day lives. See, it's you, Sun in the 6th house, Leo ruling the 6th house individuals who take a lot of pride in what you do on a daily basis. And you also put a lot of heart into the work that you choose to do. And if you're not in a job that doesn't really sit well with your ego, you might become gloomy and frustrated. Or if you fall off track from your schedules for longer than you originally planned, you might fuss as you start being super critical towards yourself. In fact, it could very well be suggested that you become so tangled up with your day-to-day life that you keep busy for the sake of being busy. Or maybe you find it difficult to switch off and kick back for a while, simply just to relax. There's also a possibility of you planning every minute of the day, resulting in little room for spontaneity or for last minute plans that could be fun. Then again, perhaps these things can differ depending on the sign that the Sun is in, but there's still a conscious part of you that is always aware of the things that you gotta do, or aware of the tasks that you would like to attend to. Now, the thing about this is, with the Sun or Leo energy here, this way of life may actually be fun for you, right? It may actually be pretty enjoyable. Like I said at the beginning, you might thrive when it comes to schedules and routines. But on the other hand, worry and stress may arise. So I'm just going to use a quick example of myself to explain this, because I have the sun in the 6th house in the whole sign system, and I find that I do really enjoy attending to my everyday tasks and responsibilities. I like making my to-do lists, and I love what I do work-wise as well. And then I also can be really good at just managing my errands and my time throughout the day and other things that exist outside of work. You know, like washing or laundry or dishes or cooking, cleaning, all that kind of stuff. Shopping as well. I don't mind doing it. I have the energy for it. I get a lot of enjoyment, I suppose you could say, from doing these things. But whenever I take maybe 1 or 2 days off, I'm still thinking of all the other things that I gotta attend to afterwards. And I'm also very conscious of the fact that I haven't done any work in a certain period of time, or that I haven't attended to my day-to-day tasks maybe in a certain period of time. If it is that I take a break from those things at all, I start stressing, thinking that if I don't get back to work as soon as possible, everything is just going to fall apart. And no matter how much I tell myself not to worry, I still do. So if you have sun in the 6th house, or even Leo ruling the 6th house, maybe you do this, or maybe you stress out or worry about different things, maybe like your health or your diet, or perhaps you see certain things as a mess or as a disaster, when in actuality they're completely fine as they are. But still, to you, something must be fixed, something must be done to make them better. Now, similarly, this whole fixing, making things better attitude may apply to your health and your diet, because you may be somebody who pays very, very close attention to your health and your diet. So you may really be conscious of the food that you eat, for example, or you may be very aware of the tiniest little scratch that appears on your body, and then next thing you know, you're calling up your doctor. Which, by the way, you might attend regular health checkups if you're someone with relatively decent access to medical support, or perhaps you prefer alternative medicine, or maybe you prefer to attend more holistic practices. Either way though, it's you, sun in the 6th house, Leo ruling the 6th house individuals, who really, you strive to feel good in your body and your mind. That way you're healthier or in a better shape to be of service or to help others, as you ever so gladly do. And this actually leads me on to how you appreciate being applauded or recognized for what you do to help others. You appreciate being approved for your work or for your line of service. Even though you might not show this obviously, outwardly, the desire for recognition and applause can still be there. And these things are quite evident because, well, you might leave a job if you don't feel like you're being appreciated, or you might take on extra hours if it means being applauded. And when it comes to being of service, it's about providing a service that is actually helpful or useful. So for you, if something doesn't make sense in terms of its usefulness and practicality, you might question it and then turn towards something else that is. So for example, maybe you don't see how certain foods are helpful at all, or maybe you don't understand why certain products are even a thing. Maybe you sometimes look out into society and you think, why does this even exist? That's so stupid, that's so dumb. What kind of moron would even invent such a thing? And so when it comes to your service or your creation, well, you're most likely going to use your critical thinking skills to go over things like the plan, the format, the demographics, the measurements, the necessity, whatever. But whatever service it is that you do end up providing, you are most likely going to seek much satisfaction and fulfillment from whatever it is as well. So if you're working for an employer that's providing a particular service, for example, you might prefer that you get along well with the other employees, which you come to think of it, you may actually be really, really good at getting on well with your coworkers and the people that you do work alongside. It may be a situation where you bring a lot of joy and happiness into the workplace. I mean, I know myself with the multiple jobs that I've been in the past, I find that I predominantly get on really, really well with the coworkers that I've worked alongside of. Or another thing here, or another example, may be that you seek to have plenty of opportunities within work in order to refine your skills so that you can add these skills to your resume. Or if you're self-employed, even with these placements, then you most likely prefer it if the service that you provide showcases your craftsmanship, okay, and your ability to create order. Or you might prefer it if you have full control over a particular service, over the service that it is. Or you might even think that it's best that you're undisturbed whenever you're working so that you can really focus and you can concentrate. And like I said, you most likely seek to put your skills and your work to good use. And whatever line of work that you enter into, well, you'll probably want to know how it functions, how it operates, how it all really comes together, and how your personal contribution fits into that structure. It all must really make sense to you as you learn how to function efficiently in practical ways. And by doing so, your individuality and your identity is really strengthened as you feel a greater sense of aliveness, a greater sense of purpose. So this could look like you questioning your manager to ensure that you know your individual role. Or this could be where you break down your tasks and your duties to assess how well you can manage your time throughout the working day. Or quite possibly this could be you reaching out to your coworkers to see what their individual roles are. And if you are self-employed, maybe this could be a situation where you see who else is working within the same industry as you. And by doing so, you can come to terms with other people's strengths and weaknesses, for example. But essentially, you're someone who seeks to analyze how things operate within your chosen working field. And by doing so, you might feel much more secure of the individual role that you play within it too. And I also want to mention here that there may be something to be said about how you may inherit your father's work ethic. Maybe you saw how your father worked whilst you were growing up, and you noticed how much time and effort that your father put into his work, and so maybe it's these types of things that have stuck with you into your adult life as well. And you might also find that you shine or you glow when you come to terms with your purpose and how that actually fits in with helping others. So it could also be suggested that aiding others with practical advice is something you prefer, and that you feel good about yourself whenever you are lending a helping hand towards others. However, in the case of your help or your service being declined, well, you might take that very personally, okay? It can feel like a big blow to your ego whenever others reject the thing that you do eagerly want to give. So on one hand, you might seek to teach others how they can help themselves by creating a method that can be applied to their everyday lives. But on the other hand, you may find it difficult to fathom why on earth someone else would decline your kindness and your generosity. Again though, perhaps the placement of the sun can provide more of an indication here, but still, we're noticing how your ego can become tangled up in the help that you provide to others. Though if this is the case, maybe it would be a good idea to really step back and assess why this might be. So are there some insecurities that stem from childhood? Or do you seek validation from others because you weren't given enough attention as a child? Is it maybe a situation where you analysed how your father was working so much and then there wasn't really a lot of that intimate support from the father towards you? Or maybe you think that the approval that you give yourself is found through the things that you actually physically, practically do for others. Yeah, so these are some potential questions that may arise here. Or you know what? Maybe you find who you are actually through the acts of service that you demonstrate, which, yes, can be very empowering. But sometimes, I suppose the lesson here is, sometimes people don't want to be helped. Sometimes people don't want to be fixed, so to speak. And that's their choice. So perhaps it would be of a beneficial thing to distinguish between those who do and those who don't. And that when others don't, try not to take it super personally, because it may be something much more greater or bigger than you that's causing a type of problem or issue for them. And I guess that this leads us on to the last and final thing that I want to mention, and that's really to do with self-care, which you may be a strong advocate for. But still, there's an emphasis on self-care here as you become conscious of the things that you do on a daily basis. So you might make sure that you pencil in some daily exercise, or you might schedule breaks throughout the day, which you see as very, very important. Or you might get a lot of joy out of simply stepping outside every day for a light walk in nature, which, by the way, you might perform many grounding practices on a day-to-day basis to ensure that you feel connected with your body. And if you don't, I suggest you do, because with these types of placements, there can be a tendency of the mind just taking over as the body feels drained or worn out. You know, with myself, I know that painting my nails definitely is very enjoyable for me. It helps center me. And also going for nice walks. I really enjoy going for a light walk outside in nature with my partner. It helps ground me a lot. In fact, it could also be suggested that some of you seek out employment that involves health and wellness. So maybe you work with plants or with animals, or maybe you work with medicine or with food or with certain herbs and oils, or maybe you work within an industry that involves helping patients so that they can be nursed back to health. But whatever the case may be here, it's you, Sun in the 6th house, Leo ruling the 6th house, individuals whose identity can be formed by not only being of service to others, but by also making sure that you're being of service to your body and your mind as well. Okay then, Cosmic Warriors, so that concludes my video on the glow, applause and aliveness of those of you who have Sun located within the 6th house within your natal birth chart, but also for those of you who have the sign of Leo ruling the 6th house within your natal birth chart as well. Now, if you happen to have any of these placements, then definitely let us know what you thought of the video in the comment section down below. But with all that being said, thank you so much for watching, thank you for subscribing, and of course, if you would like to see more videos from myself and you have not yet subscribed, then make sure that you click that subscribe button and also give this video a like, remember. And I will be back with another video very, very soon. Bye!